Unlock your potential, but lock your bike. People are always joyriding on other people's bikes. It's a source of joy, and those are vanishingly rare in an age like this. But bikes have always been a precious commodity. If you'd like to be destroyed, check out the Italian masterpiece, The Bicycle Thief. If you wouldn't like to be destroyed, the work of Adam Sandler is always available to you. Watching a movie that makes you feel awful is the height of sophistication, but not everyone cares about being sophisticated. In fact, they mostly don't. To the point of people who do are unbelieved. Words like pretentious are thrown around. And why did you make me watch Dancer in the Dark? I'm canceling the rest of our plans for the night to drive back to the rental place because I don't want it in our home anymore. The problem is, now with digital media, there is nothing to exercise. I suppose you could throw your phone out the window, which you kind of deserve if you're watching Lars Van Trier movies on your phone, which I think you would hate, so keep doing what you're doing. And keep writing your screenplay by hand. I wrote this by hand, but I didn't make some big stinky deal about it. But maybe that's my problem. Not enough proclamations about making art, so no one knows I'm doing it. Sure, there are 13,500 of you, but on the scale of the internet, that's a rounding error. I'm grateful for each and every one of you who are here. Cult hits are the best hits. So get ready for our evening criticism session and bring your wallets. Is here the place to admit that I don't really know what goes on in a cult? I went to the Scientology Center in Times Square once because I was cold and killing time before curtain up. They made a bland presentation about L. Ron Hubbard and what an adventurer he was, and then served off-brand grape soda. What's the on-brand grape soda? Anyway, I had a vague sense of drinking their offered beverage would be some kind of line that I didn't want to cross, so I got the hell out of there. And maybe that's why, to this day, I remain unfamous. Most people are, you know, unfamous. Andy Warhol predicted it. In the future, everyone will be viral for 15 minutes. But that's not about the media. Warhol was a secret epidemiologist. L. Ron told me. And I'm pretty sure everything he said was true. Even though he explicitly said, "Hey, I'm a sci-fi writer and I'm confident I can create a religion for suckers." But then, he didn't. He created a different thing that's totally true. Ask Leah Remini about it. The problem with having a multi-tool is that it's hard to bring to public places. But how is someone supposed to be a fix-it person if one isn't allowed to bring a small blade into the Tate Modern? I'm not gonna slash the art, I promise. Besides, how could you tell? Zing! That's a contemporary fine art zing. The problem is, I guess, that there's a possibility that somebody will slash the paintings or worse. Have we reached a tipping point in society where more people are threatening violence than fixing shit? Or the conspiracy is this: they don't want you to fix your own shit anymore. Nothing is truly disposable if there's someone out there to give it more life. Tailors, tinkerers, soldiers, spies. And that's the problem, because your role in society is to buy more stuff. Replacing the battery in your iPhone means you don't have to give up and buy a new iPhone, which is absurd to normalize the expectation that it's just part of modern life to drop thousands of dollars on a phone every other year. Are you kidding me? Why are we not rioting in the streets about this? I mean, there's a lot to riot about at any one given time, but maybe that's a part of it. In a whirlwind of chaos, quietly present your absurd agenda like it's normal and no one will even notice. But what if you, just as quietly, didn't even participate? Just browse the iFixit forums and gather up skills and competence. Well then, they're gonna have to start taking away your tools. On public transportation, museums, public transportation museums, those are the places I've checked in pocket knives and forgotten to get them back, which is as good as confiscating them. I did once see someone getting their knife measured on the metro. Blades smaller than a certain length are allowed on this particular system, but if you're on the cusp, they have to pull you over and measure, which is as effective as saying, "Can't you just leave it at home and save everyone the bother? Don't worry about opening stubborn packaging out in the world." Aha, but then how am I supposed to buy more stuff? I guess I have to buy a new pocket knife on the road. Oh no, Little Knife is in on it. They're all in on it. So I don't know. The answer, as it is with so many modern life problems, is prepare to be inconvenient and prepare to be inconvenienced. I will not be smoothed into bureaucracy. This is my sacred pledge. If you're not ready, get ready, because it's time to go and someone else is. Who does extreme competition benefit? Fans of extreme sports, I guess. But is that who we want our society tilted towards? Maybe. I have trouble reading what our human values are, as opposed to muskrat values. Muskrats are very clear. There's a whole song about it. Do we have a song? Should we? I know someone who can write it. No need to have a whole competition about it. When those competition reality shows came around, part of the whole pitch was, this isn't just disgusting voyeurism we can make on the cheap, we're helping the cream rise to the top. And you want the cream to rise to the top, don't you? Or are you an anti-dairy communist? And so we found a few talented singers and chefs and guys guys who could make a couture outfit out of felt and toenail clippings who weren't already in the machine. The conceit worked. And then YouTube happened, and we got Donald Glover. And everyone was pleased with the democratization of culture. The end. So there, you can have happy endings. Remember Fred? Not the character from Scooby-Doo, or that guy that I made up the other day, but that screaming kid who got a Netflix deal and a talking pen. We don't have stars like that anymore. All I know is I finished The Bear and there's nothing else to watch. And season 2 was the high water mark for that show anyway. And competing as a comedy? Why have we put unfunny people in charge of handing out our highest, most sacred televisual awards? And why on earth does anyone care about awards? They're manufactured attention. Anyone can do it. Here, watch this. And the prize for best simulated cheerleader goes to Kelly Kapowski! Come and get your prize. It's gonna take a while because she's coming from a long time ago and fictional, but she can't send Tiffany Amber Thiessen in her place. I'm sorry, the rules say no substitutions, just like some of your finest dining establishments. If you wanted extra pickles, you should have gone to Extra Pickles Mart. But you can't because they closed 3 weeks ago. As I learned on The Bear, the profit margins for restaurants are extremely slim. So do something useful with your life for once and open a brokerage where you short the public schools. Those itchy bastards are ready for the chopping block. The internet was supposed to be fun. Weird facts, crazy stories, some third thing. The internet was supposed to be for defense. Create a whole new arena that would then have to be protected. The internet was supposed to be for profit. Is anyone reliably turning a profit who's not selling their used underwear? Not if Collective Shout has anything to say about it. But regardless, a lot of money is changing hands and now your data is irretrievably in the hands of whomever wanted to pay for it. But at the end of the day, does Meta come out in the black? The answer could be yes, but it could be no. Just remember that as they're going door to door collecting for AI. I gave at the office. What I gave, I'm not telling. I didn't put it on a social network, that's for damn sure. Performing charity is still charity. I'm not calling machine learning generative AI a charity. It's just a thought I had, though it is being run like one. Won't you feed these hungry models more data? They're starving for more and they're starting to eye their own output, which could be disastrous. Please, have a natural conversation today. The future depends on it. The future is in your hands. The future is female. That was a wild bit of feminism, but that's all I'm gonna say about it. Go listen to a woman for once. It's rough out there on the wine dark seas. No one can see the color blue and the winds keep pushing us further from home. These adventures seem like they should be exciting, but I'm actually so bored by the 12th page. Is it my fault? Probably. It's easiest if something is a person's fault rather than a complicated crash of systems and cultural values. But now everyone has a stake, so you can't just pretend it never happened. Quick, somebody elect me or something. Preferably treasurer. I was the treasurer for 3 clubs in high school that had no money. It just meant that I was the 3rd most popular person who ran for club officership. That looks good on your college applications. People vouched for me. And if there were money, people would have trusted me to have overseen it. Not my fault that fundraising was sleeping on the job. Little did we know that fundraising and advertising were the only positions that would turn out to matter. We thought that we could be firemen, teachers, doctors, lawyers, butchers, and writers. But we're all just working in one massive call center asking, "Have you heard what AI can do for you?" This isn't a metaphor, by the way. I gotta go. It's time for my shift. Have you heard what AI can do for you? You don't have to write anything down, but you should. That miasma producing all your thoughts that you call a brain, well, it'll cough up a good thought now and then, but it won't index it. So it's as good as lost without writing it down. You're the index and the brain is just a sophisticated popcorn machine. And paper is the best thing humans ever invented, followed in quick succession by the pen. For a long time, it was assumed that humans were the only intelligence on Earth. And then the wags among us pointed out that considering humans intelligent is big of you. And then Groucho Marx pointed out that being married to more than one spouse is big of me. But then, also, we discovered that apes have social groups and make plans. And birds are so smart they can pass the SATs. Or maybe not pass, but they can remember the face of the proctor that failed. The bird brain indeed. Never piss off a being with a memory for faces. They can hold a grudge for thousands of years. So who has intelligence? Who's using intelligence? Monkeys don't practice fermentation, but they're good at picking out rotten fruit that will get them drunk. A full-bodied spoiled melon with notes of dirt and husks. Legs for days. Do I know what a day is? No one's ever asked. It's hard to know what other beings know if you don't speak their language. And if you ever tried to express yourself in another language, then you know what a frustrating experience it could be. The smartest thing the American sitcom Modern Family ever expressed was when the character Gloria frustratingly said, "I'm so smart in Spanish!" And then the touching end of the episode was that the guy from Married with Children revealed that he was taking Spanish lessons. But then it never came up again. And the seagull came in, and then this was this, and that was that. Seagull, you've been up to the surface again. We've all been up to the surface at some point in our lives. But did we see anything while we were there? Like, really see, not just take the word of a seagull. They can be convincing, but remember, they're only ever out for your fries, and they can't be trusted. What are the magnets in your head telling you? Is it time to fly north? Has the time come and gone and you've ignored it like the rebel you are? You don't have to listen to anyone, not even your brain. You should write it down though. You might need that later. Does cheating matter once you're out of school? And if it doesn't matter out of school, shouldn't we be teaching kids to do it? If education is about securing the best future, and if by best future we mean maximum profits, well then why are we teaching kids to do arithmetic by hand? Welcome to the first day of the rest of your life. This is Screwing People Over 101. Screwing People Over 201 meets in the afternoon with Mr. Davis. We do, believe it or not, have a right to demand better of our society, even if we don't pilot a Fortune 500 company. In fact, I'm not really even sure what that is. So why are they getting all the cloth napkins? Values of decency, kindness, experimentalism, wide-eyed appreciation of the wonder of the human experience. They're not silly just because they're not fashionable at the moment. Fashions change, and boy are you gonna have eggs on your face when you look back at that haircut years from now. The kids are never gonna think you're cool, no matter what. So why bother? Don't have them if they're gonna be so rude. I'm the coolest person I know, so there. And that's all there is to it. It's an extreme act, self-actualization, and one that you could do for free. But you also could pay me to do it for you. In my $15 course, I'll show you the prompts to get the AI to self-actualize you every time. You'll be so grounded and assured you'll go viral in no time. You're gonna need to get that checked eventually, but take some time to bask in the glory of a million strangers consuming you as a bit of disposable content for 45 seconds before they finish with you and move on hungrily for more. Angry dad, sad dog, disgusting parrot, we're not picky. We just demand more. What would happen if we demanded less? Well, you don't want to open that particular box of worms. People get smeared into a paste for lesser sins, which is not the same as less. I'm just talking about the degree of severity. We need you to consume, and we need you to consume more at all costs. Don't worry about the price. Predatory loans are available to you. Operators are standing by. It's jobs creation, and you want these operators to have jobs, don't you? Why do you hate jobs? Too much searching for meaning can have the opposite effect, like saying a word too many times so that it loses all meaning. Pomegranate, 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 pomegranate. There needs to be doing, but for the overthinkers among us, that can feel like a trap. But that's why movies are about the doers. Watching a ditherer be stuck is boring, unless it's a comedy. So what they're saying is mental anguish is laughable. Doesn't that make you want to get out there and do something, scream, or build a cabin in the woods or whatever? And that's today's lesson in spite as motivation for when your resolve has left you. You can use it. I'm not its originator. I'm just a fellow practitioner. I'm not even gonna charge you. I would never charge you for knowledge so fundamental. Here's another one. If you have no enemies, you can always invent some. So get inventing. Hey, your trees are impacting my sunlight in a way I find upsetting. Boom. Enemy. It's pretty easy to find discontent out in the world. Why shouldn't it be? People are annoying and our lives are becoming more and more filled with people every day. Not in your daily life, that's pretty stable. Unless you're doing something wonderfully dramatic like moving to the big city from the deep countryside, or vice versa. But that's an advanced move. What I'm really talking about is the amount of virtual people, and worse, their opinions that you need to interact with every day is skyrocketing. I'm sure you can find an enemy among them. Millions are waging wars about the outcomes of reality competitions or beloved old books that are bad, actually. Here's the thing that they're missing. The action that you let that spur you to should take you to a different arena or you're just spinning in the dryer. You never want to be stuck in a vortex. That's where you started. It's of no use to hop into a different vortex. You need propellant into a different direction, if I may be so bold as to diagnose what ails you. It's an assumption, and if that makes an ass out of you and me, so be it. Let that set you on a path on which you turn this video off and throw your phone into the sea, and then go out and get it because there's information about an important meeting that's on there. And also, you've almost finished today's connections. But in the process of retrieving your phone from the sea, you meet a fish who reminds you of your lifelong goal of opening a taco truck. And you thank that fish and you get to a used food truck lot because a lot of people have had a similar dream and failed. But failure's okay. It means you're taking risks and pushing the story forward. But that lesson is going to cost you. Check your phone for an invoice. Transhumanism sounds like a silly idea, frankly, but it is annoying to catch a cold. Of course, computers are not immune. We did call it a virus after all. Maybe catching a machine virus would be worse than a common human cold. Existence comes with existence. There's no way around it, no matter how big your galaxy brain is. My galaxy brain is pretty large, not to brag, but I need to carry it around in this fragile shell. One of the features of aging is increased awareness of this fragility. Kids don't care. They fling themselves around with abandon, but fall down a couple of dozen times, and by the time you reach middle age, you're aware of what it means to get knocked around. What are you hoping transhumanism transhumanism will be. A brain in a jar? How will you get around, and in which medium will you do it? Zooming around a digital simulacrum of the world? We're mad at that when it's called simulation theory. Of course it matters if it was our choice. But then, what if one of its features is we don't know meat body us chose this for us? Is a separate consciousness a different being? Severance would have you think that it's a difficult question, but Severance is full of itself. And what if digital us was housed in a robot that could navigate this world? You know, the one with plants and trees and rocks and things? It seems cool on the surface to be all machine, but in the comics, those are all the bad guys. Are we prejudiced against robo-humans? Probably. The idea of it creeps me out. So the deal is we gotta stay in the package we came in. Achy joints and all. Medical science is working on that, I guess. Once they finally nail a weight loss drug that doesn't kill you, probably physical suffering is next. Although they might consider the case closed. What was wrong with Oxycontin again? Ask your doctor today. Don't get fooled by wellness. I know you won't, but I just wanted to say that out loud so we both know. A well is already a noun. It's where we keep the water. So wellness is the state of being a well then, is it not? Well then, language is fun, but you knew that too. Is there communication without language? Using beeps and boops. Well, that's something to say. Bake me a cake as fast as you can. No, faster. I like it when the inside is still runny. Can anyone be right about food? Not so much as a person, but a culture. Is duck à l'orange à la wrong if you do it with a mango? Sometimes fusion works out, but sometimes fusion just means our chef is a master of nothing. Which improvements are actually better? I guess you just have to try and see, because authenticity is overrated. Sometimes someone's just stuck in their ways. But if you don't know what bread's supposed to taste like, maybe you're not ready to go messing with the formula. Paint the fruit is a metaphor I used to use with someone. Its true origin is lost to time, but I think it refers to the practice of having children paint their gourds at Halloween, because you can't trust them with a knife. There's a lot of troublemakers out there, but also a lot of gourds, this gourd season motherfuckers. And technically, they are fruits. Crack them open, full of seeds. Culinarily, they're undervalued. We should be eating way more squash, especially with spicy food. Try it now and thank me later. I listened to a podcast about pumpkins recently. Don't worry, I won't tell you about it, as is polite. The thing is, everyone has the capacity to get a New Yorker subscription. So just know that. Deep dive journalism is in fact still happening. Where do you think everyone on YouTube is ripping off their stories from? New York Magazine keeps finding scandals that keep those video essayists frothing. All good journalism is done by those two magazines, New York, New Yorker. The city's so nice, Condé Nast hired the whole lot. Too bad it's still impossible to live there on a journalist's salary. We ought to pay creative people more if we want creative stuff. Otherwise, they're just gonna keep inventing stuff like NFTs and hand sanitizer. Yep, this is where we ended up. Again. But if we want things to be less crappy and we continue to live under capitalism, people need to be able to make a living. And there need to be more job options than Amazon warehouse worker or BetterHelp shill. Get your therapy however you can. I have no dog in that fight. Casper Mattresses, however, he's a jerk who fights dogs on the weekend. I'm not accusing him of a dogfighting ring, mind you. Nah, I'm saying Casper puts on boxing gloves to have an actual fist fight with dogs. Look it up. Thanks to movie magic, you never have to see me hold an umbrella. But it rains all the freaking time. But weather in movies has to mean something. The rain is for sadness and alienation. And rain does feel plenty alienating. But it doesn't always have to be so meaningful. Spike Lee famously turned a heat wave into art with Do the Right Thing. But also, Summer of Sam was overheated as well. What if the man just doesn't like hot? Some people are cold weather people. It's part of life's beautiful tapestry. I, for one, can't stand snow. I'm still working on making that into something symbolic. It's the wet feet, you know, that I can't abide. It's all too real. Shortcuts is all about wind, as is The Wizard of Oz. Twister is obviously about tornadoes as well, but not in a meaningful way. That whole movie is just an excuse for a CGI cow to be flying through the air. When the Midwest comes into play, watch out for all those flying repressed emotions. There's some good tornado TV where the impending storm represents the chaos of the world, forcing the characters to put life's petty concerns on hold. But I can't think of any specific examples. I'm getting School Dance ruined by reports of weather, getting The Basement Kids. Life is coming, and it's a doozy. It's all a doozy if you're not careful. What if the drama llamas are right, and this is all too much all of the time? Where does that double L beginning keep coming from? It can't be Spanish, or else we'd say llamas. But could it really be the Dark Horse Welsh? Do they really have that much influence? Really? Language happens all around, every day. But that's rarely worked into movies unless the filmmakers themselves have language. The best Hollywood can do is have all the baddies speak with a British accent. And take it from me, the British are baddies. Using margarine instead of mayonnaise on sandwiches? Who do they think they are? The sun never set on your spice cabinet. You have the nerve to serve food like that? I realize that's an old-fashioned view of British cuisine. But I am old, so sue me. And bake it with 4 and 20 blackbirds into a savory pie. Medieval food, that's a story for another time. Actual relaxation is much different from jacking a bunch of light in your eye. And yet, we choose light. Maybe we're plants after all. Has anyone thought of that yet? Could plants get addicted to doom scrolling? What's bad news to a plant? Probably droughts and floods. Water-based news. And disease. The life of a plant is simple, but prone to disaster. Would you choose that option if it was available to you? We're kind of choosing it. Not that life is simple, but humanity is acting in a way that's inviting disaster and disease back on the menu. Let's burn some more petroleum until things get rowdy in here. Summer storms aren't exciting enough. Let's build a heat dome. High temps mean the air can physically hold more water, and everyone knows it's a dry heat is for old people. You're not old. You crave humidity. It keeps you supple and alive, sweating through your H&M clothes. Let's not get distracted by Temu and Shine. Fast fashion started in Europe. The Chinese just made it faster. There are some who would say I'm biased, and yes, I am. We're all biased. There's no view from nowhere, and everything you think and do is influenced by everything thought and done around you. Isn't it great? That's how we make a culture. Can plants do that? Maybe. I'm hearing good things about root networks and resource sharing. It's a small leap from there to a harvest feast day, and a silly one that's just for kids. Humans invented the concepts of childhood and teen years. Why can't plants? I'll tell you why. It's because humans are the only species that invents things. Or humans are the only species that dreams. Or humans are the only species that bet on sports. One of those might be true. Oh, I got it. We're the only species that ferments food to cultivate a robust microbiome. No. That's not it either. The microbiome means that humans aren't even just human. We're a colony, a gathering of bacteria and other organisms that have assembled themselves in the shape of 3 kids in a trench coat. I'm made of tiny men, and I'd like to work in your restaurant if you'll have me. I'm passionate about food service, and every customer deserves not just a meal, but a culinary experience. Because humans are the only beings that enjoy food for pleasure as well as sustenance. And if you can disguise the sustenance, all the better. I don't want to do anything healthy today. I'm celebrating our annual day of indulgence. Humans can extrapolate a lot from missing information. It's not always correct. Human interaction is rife with misunderstandings, but it's usually a pretty good guess. Because it's only very rarely a complete picture, is it? Like, there are several languages around the world where you can omit necessary information if it's obvious from context. In fact, there's more of a punishment for being Captain Obvious than there is for being Captain Vague. Because even if it's vague, verging on incomprehensible, the human mind, with its tendency towards narrative, will fill in so many blanks. It's why ultra-logical people get flummoxed when more information does not yield more understanding. But what is one to do with this fact? Well, for one thing, explain nothing. Better to be thought a fool with a closed mouth than to open it and remove all doubt. Old Abe Lincoln knew you can't specify your way out of stupidity, except that you can. In terms of person-to-person communication, the taciturn fellow seems like a stuck-up snob, and in the public arena, the filibuster wins. Just keep jabber-jawing until your audience relents.
You must have a point because I am exhausted.
Gish gallop your way to a gish gallop. It can all be true. And it is. That's the tricky thing about words. They can and do mean whatever tricksy thing you want them to, but also, words mean something. So, better to become a body language expert. Do they still have Us Weekly where you are? Buy up all the copies. You'll make a publisher's day. And turn to the spread where they explain which celebrities are getting a secret divorce based on the angle of the bend of their elbow. This is a masterclass. Then give yourself a treat and turn to the back page. Celebrities are just like us, in that they also wear sweatpants and are harassed by paparazzi every time they try to go out and buy some Gatorade for their hangover. Then you'll be a communications master without even a word. You'll be able to walk into a party and tell immediately who is only there because the host owes them money. It's everyone. That mooch. But that's a separate strategy for a separate video. How to ensure your parties are well attended by borrowing all over town. The key is to keep the amount small enough that people won't gossip, but large enough that people do want it back. The balance depends on how cheap your friends are. I'm very cheap. Give me back that $2. Is it endless? Not literally, but there is a lot of it. I know, but I can't tell you why. Just like Don Henley. He also can't tell you why, so don't even ask. There's no penalty for asking, but it's not polite. Polite is important enough, but it's not the most important. Nobody's totally sure what's the most important. It might be a personal decision, but then again, I don't know. There's just some days when one is full of doubt. It's okay, it's one of the 5 states of being. Everyone spends some time there. If you can't handle it, well, handle it. That's not really advice because life decides for you. It'll all come out in the wash. So don't mix your reds with your lights or you'll end up with pinks. Or save yourself some time and just buy all pink to start with. You can like a country's lifestyle, but be repelled when you get there. Most people are repellent. I could use some mosquito repellent. To them, I'm a delicious snack. To me, they're an itchy menace. What makes a person delicious? It's the spices. The whole world was changed to get those spices, and then a super boring novel was written about it. But don't underestimate the optimization of boring food. The biggest achievement of the 20th century was to get people to not only accept, but crave terrible food. You didn't need to sail around the world for saffron, just crank up the sugar. Although that was still located on the other side of the world. I am your neighbor. Then we just took it, and it was everywhere, and now it's killing us. The high cost of living, I guess. People change, or people don't change, but the things we know about them do. Are we always supposed to be judging? That's a little exhausting. But these dreams don't fever themselves, so that's what needs doing. It can be you or somebody else. Zoom out enough and we're all just ants carrying watermelons from place to place. Zoom in and the watermelons are still there, which is good because watermelon is delicious. All natural too. No added asbestos. You have to be careful in this day and age. Additives will get you and turn you into a raving lunatic. People will stop eating almonds around you because your lectures have become notorious, and nobody wants that. But slowly, you'll become surrounded by people who only agree with you, and you won't even see anything wrong with that all bee pollen diet, and you're insufferable, but your lips look luscious. And yes, I will, I said yes, you will, I said yes.